Hey guys, it's Dan Martin and it's on education, and today we're going to be talking about ways to retain your teachers. You don't want your teacher saying, "Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more." You don't want them to say that. You want to hold on to your good teachers and you want them to be happy and productive. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to retain your teachers.
Should I stay or should I go now?
And the number one thing that was on the Merrimack Teacher Survey for 2022 was to feel respected. And so how do you do that? How do you really treat teachers with the level of respect that they deserve? Well, one of the ways is you value their experience. A lot of times when you have new teachers come into the building, they're full of piss and vigor and full of new ideas, and that's great, and you should value that as well. But also seek input from your senior teachers.
Okay, come on, you can do it.
And a lot of times input is not sought from them because they're going to poo-poo your ideas or your initiatives. And even if they poo-poo your ideas or initiatives, what they're going to do is they're going to try to strengthen whatever you're trying to do. And you know the old saying, steel sharpens steel. And so you want your very best experienced teachers to give input. The other thing, talking about input, is to value feedback. And so when you ask for feedback on surveys or whatever vehicle you use to get that feedback from, you need to not poo-poo the feedback. And what I mean by that is that I remember a case where we gave the superintendent tons of feedback on what was going on in the district. And at the next big district meeting, he got up there and he tore into all the feedback that we gave him.
You can't handle the truth.
And so if you want honest feedback, you've got to value it. Now, you don't have to agree with it. You can point out maybe some of the flaws with it, but you should always appreciate that feedback. Well, I really appreciate you giving me this feedback, and this is what we're considering doing. And to go along with that is to get input. You know, the feedback is one type of input, but if you have a major initiative that you want to propose, don't wait until you've already said that you're going to do it to get that feedback. That's really insulting to teachers. And a lot of times we would have something presented to us and it was already dyed in the wool. You know, we were going to do this, and now you can give us feedback on how to make it better.
Pretty good, huh?
No, it's a train wreck.
It's better to get feedback before you start the initiative, and that will keep you from having egg on your face by doing something that's totally out of line and out of step with what will work.
I'm in no hurry to start that train wreck.
The other thing is when you go into classrooms, don't go into classrooms just to evaluate the teacher. Be there for the teacher. Especially if you have a class that has a lot of discipline problems. You need to show up there often and not to criticize the teacher, but to give support.
You walked in on the slide.
And also to get to know the students, not only to the classes that are wild and woolly and you need to support, maybe even a new teacher especially needs that help, but also just to be around. The principal needs to be visible. The vice principals need to be visible. The kids need to know you by name. And the only way that they're going to get to know you is if you show up. Respect caps. That's the other thing. If you have a classroom cap, and you should, respect that cap. Try not to go all the way up to the cap at the beginning of the semester, if at all possible, because you're going to have kids that show up late and you're going to have to put kids in classes sometimes. And the excuse that administrators give is, well, we had no place else to put them. And in most cases, that's just not true. We had seniors that had half full schedules. And so, if you have to, just wait till the next semester to put them in that cap. The parents may not be happy, but if they come in late, you have an excuse. You say, well, they came in late. there really wasn't room for them in this class, but we'll catch it next semester.
Don't respect.
And typically, you have plenty of quarters to get all those required classes in. The other thing is, and this is the really hard one, pay them like professionals. Teachers' salaries are lower than any other profession for the degree of education that's required. In your district, you should make a real effort to be at least to the middle to the higher part of the pay range for the area. If your school's doing well, there's no excuse for you not to reward the teachers that way. So that's the number one thing. You've got to respect those teachers, and they will be a lot happier for it. The second thing that you can do to help retain your teachers is to have some paid PD. And there are a lot of opportunities here for teachers to earn extra money.
Money.
And, the old argument, well, you've got, a 3-month summer, which is actually not true. You at the most get 2, and a lot of that, maybe a week or so of that 2 months is doing PD. And so, they say that, you don't deserve the extra pay because of that. Well, give teachers an opportunity to come in and work during the summer and do paid work. The first thing that you would do is set up a system for request and approval for paid PD, whether it's during the summer or during the regular school year. That needs to be streamlined, and there needs to be somebody, maybe at the district level at the school, that can approve that PD and make it relatively easy to get the request in and the approval back in an expedited manner. Seek suggestions from your teachers for a content-specific PD that they would like to do. Then you can have voluntary paid summer PD. And some of the things that you can have teachers do is design content during that time, write exams, tutor students who are maybe behind and want to come in for the summer, write grants, write school report cards, plan activities for clubs, intramurals, and all sorts of things like that take extra time during the school year to do. The teachers are really pressed to spend quality time on. Teachers are preparing for the next day's lesson, getting materials together. I was a chemistry teacher, so I had always had labs to put together and chemicals to mix. And so it was really hard to do all the extra things that I would have liked to have done to improve student engagement and learning. So those are some of the great ideas for teachers to earn extra money and for them to own into and have a real sense of ownership in the school. The next thing is limiting the amount of non-instructional hours for teachers.
Stop wasting my time.
In the Merrimack survey of 2022, teachers reported working 54 hours a week on average. And they said only 25 of those were related to academic events or, presenting content, grading papers, and that kind of thing. And so what were the other hours? Well, they were supervision and meetings. So supervision of students before and after school, maybe in between periods. Also supervision at athletic events, taking tickets and doing that kind of thing. And also within that, meetings. Lots and lots and lots of meetings and trainings. And you can't get away from some of that. Some of that is just required. However, a lot of times what I found was a really concise email with really good directions would have sufficed instead of meeting face to face. And so try to limit those hours of non-instructional time for teachers. One of the most frustrating things for me was to come back to school and to want to get my classroom all set up and maybe the first couple of weeks planned out. And I was sitting in meetings for the first day and a half and only had 2 days before the kids came. So those types of things really help lower the stress level of your teachers, and it will make them a lot happier. The very last item is for teachers to have opportunities to advance and to increase in pay without going into administration. And so in the school system, the only way that you can have a substantial bump in salary is to go into administration. You have a continuum of pay for teachers as they gain more years of service. But really, to get a big jump in pay, you have to become an assistant principal or a principal. And I mentioned this to our superintendent one time, and I just got a blank look on his face, like that's never going to happen.
I can get no satisfaction.
But if you're really serious about retaining your teachers and retaining quality teachers, this is something that should be considered. When I worked in agricultural research, they found that their head researchers would go into administration, and then they would lose all that great research that they were doing. They were pushing pencils and administrative tasks.
Dean, I don't want to be a pencil pusher.
And looking at budgets and doing all those important things. I'm not saying that they're not important, but they really miss their input out in the field doing the research. And so I think the same thing applies to teachers. If you have a really, really good teacher, you don't want them to become an administrator. It's just plain as simple as that. Where the rubber meets the road,
I solve problems. That's just what I do.
Is where kids and teachers meet. And so I think really to get that kind of great teacher, experience counts. You want them to gain experience over years. You want somebody that's dedicated to improving their craft. And you can set up systems by which, they can gain education, they can gain professional development, and they can increase their salary commensurate with that level of an administrator. And so, kind of in summary here, I think that the important part to note here is that respect is the most important. A lot of people would say, teachers are unhappy because of pay, and that is absolutely true. One of the things to feel respected is to be paid money, like a professional. But if you can't do that, then there are other ways of respecting your teachers. You respect their time, you respect their talents, you give them the support that they need by being in their classrooms, by talking to them, not just when it comes time to do an evaluation. So with that, I hope you found this interesting and helpful. I'm hoping to get the ears of some administrators and some community members, maybe members of school boards. And these are the ways that you can truly retain your teachers and have a dedicated workforce.